Hey everybody, it's Manny again. I'm catching you again from downtown Flushing, New York. And tonight I want to spend a couple of minutes talking about stress. This has been a very stressful week for me. Good stress and bad stress, but I want to talk about stress as a heart disease risk factor because it's really very poorly understood. I'm going to discuss some of the coping mechanisms for stress relief, and there's good ones, there's bad ones, and I really hope that you guys will engage the conversation in this one because there's a lot of ways to do it. I certainly don't know all the answers. I really am just hoping that this discussion will lead into a mechanism for really sharing things that work for you guys. So as always, let me know where you're watching from and share with me and with all of us the stresses in your life and how you deal with them. For me, it's been a busy week at work. Heart disease and interventional cardiology in general is never predictable. Things happen at all hours. This week, as it happens, I've been working pretty late every night. I have not actually seen my kids. I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. I haven't seen them awake since Tuesday. So I'm going to make this video pretty quick and then get in the car and try to catch them before they get to sleep tonight. But it's a lot of stress that we deal with every day. There's traffic, there's work, there's interpersonal relationships, there's marriages. All those things lead to a lot of stress. Stress is just one of those things that we know is bad for your heart. It's bad for a lot of things. It is implicated in heart disease and various cancers. We just don't really know a good way to quantify it. Like, how do you quantify how we have stress? So I think it's just one of those things that we know it exists. We all have it. Obviously, it's the world that we live in, and it's generally a bad thing. So the coping mechanisms I want to discuss, basically there's two ways to go. It can either be positive mechanisms or they could be negative mechanisms. The negatives are kind of obvious. A lot of times it's things like smoking, it's things like alcohol abuse, it's things like drug abuse. And I'm, like I always say, I'm not here to judge anybody. I tell my patients the same thing. If you're a smoker, I'm here to give you medical advice. I'm not here to judge you. And it's the same thing with stress. And I think when we talk about self-destructive behaviors, which is what those things are, it's important to understand what those are and why we're doing it, and try to maybe reverse it into more positives. So a few of the things that I've gotten into lately that have been positive outlets for stress. The last few years, some of you know I've gotten into running a lot. I've gotten into exercise in different forms, and I'll probably do another video on the different forms of exercise as far as how it benefits your heart, but I don't want to overwhelm with too much in one discussion. And then more recently, I've gotten into yoga as a form of exercise. I try to do yoga once a week. I'm a novice. I've been doing it for a few years. I'm hardly any good. It really doesn't matter. As long as you just kind of get into it and get moving. I think yoga is great for your mind. It's great for your heart. It's great for your body. It definitely builds up cardiovascular endurance and just mental stress relief. And then the last thing that I've gotten into more recently, like really recently, like in the last few weeks, has been mindfulness and meditation. There's all kinds of free apps for smartphones on meditation, and I'm just learning about it. And so far, it basically just feels like focused breathing for several minutes, and that's great. I'm hoping to learn more about that, but I do feel good when I do it, and that's kind of all I know. Besides those things, this is such a nebulous topic. I don't really want it to devolve at this point into things like, counseling and therapies and interpersonal relationships. And it's great if you guys want to talk about those things, but as far as like working on relationships and positive attitude and all that stuff, there's a whole mountain of positive attitude books and quotes and websites and so forth, and I think they're great. I think attitude is incredibly important in stress relief and in just sort of general health overall. So it's kind of, like I said, a nebulous topic, but it's important because we know that stress is a bad thing. And I'm going to cut this off here. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to get in my car and finish this long week and get home and see my kids because I just want to see them awake once this week. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again very soon, and I look forward to interacting with you in the discussion in the comment section below. Thanks again. Have a good night, everybody.